So I'm sitting with the Powermann. Who is the Powermann and where did you come from? What is this all about, mate? Let's know.
Yeah, let's go for it. The Powermann was created from years of teaching. I was PE teacher, guidance teacher, deputy head, and when I left teaching back properly 2015, I realised that I wanted to get the best knowledge in the world, world-class knowledge, to really try to make an impact on the world. So I went into teaching to provide an education which I believe I didn't get. So I wanted to be more, but it's a very challenging thing to do when you're in a school or in an education, when you're told what to teach. So what I decided to do is go to America. I've been studying psychology, and then the impact of COVID, phones, etc. I realised that the kids are in a lot of pain in schools, and the education system hasn't been updated. And the way, the social media is so quick now, so exciting, but education is a way behind that. So I thought, there's only one way. I'm going to have to raise my game and to really, what's it I've heard, when whatever can make you cry or angry, something in the world that's a wrong in the world, then that's your passion. That's
something that brings an emotional response enough for you to get that out.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, and I think it's children, education, and the way they're being treated. So this isn't a blame game. I'm just saying my mission is to find out how I can really make an impact to help these kids or parents, teachers, etc.
Brilliant. And what is the impact that you're trying to give them? Because when I see it, it's kind of some of the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Being positive, obviously, getting in fit, good shape, getting in training, being powerful, being I say it in a different way for you, but it's still being a wee bitch, maybe. Pussycat, right? So I say it differently for you, but it's the same sentiment.
Yeah.
Man up a wee bit, be confident, be courageous. That's kind of the whole thing. That's why I wanted to speak to you, because it's very, very similar message, just some different language, but the same thing. We're both trying to help the world a wee bit together. You're saying that there. My daughters went to school in Portugal,
right?
And when they came back to Scotland, my oldest daughter thrived in the same schools I went to. So thrived. She's still thriving. She's doing good. My middle daughter is struggling.
Right.
The teachers maybe aren't able to handle her as well, maybe her specific way of being. And that actually reminds me when I was younger, the conversation we just had there. I remember when I was younger, I was always getting kept out of class all day because I'd done something disruptive, which obviously teachers can't deal with at that time. They've got so many kids, but they never knew how to deal with me at that point. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe in the 90s they never knew how to deal with a kid with maybe, say I've got ADHD or whatever it is. They never knew how to handle me. And I can maybe feel my daughter's getting that. Is that kind of what you're meaning? Like they have an outdated system, everybody has to be the same way?
Yeah, I mean, what is the, confidence in Glasgow, in schools? You could handpick a couple of schools or east, the outskirts of Glasgow, maybe some confident kids, but it's what is it? It's a quote, isn't it? I think it's the Bible. It says the only way out of pain is wisdom.
Nice. Nice.
So
nice.
And when I'm quite I'm quite sensitive. Believe I put probably why I train. I train every day because I put on this. Growing up in Glasgow, Pollock. I've grown up in Pollock. It's you had to be strong. Even if you didn't feel like it. You walked into these St Monica's I went to, like you had to find a way to be strong, because you don't be strong, that's it.
Right.
You know, you're going to get bullied, you know. But the point is, when I was going into schools latterly, 2013, 15, and I returned to do a bit of PE teaching in like 2020, but I felt the pain. I'm a person that if someone's in pain, I feel it. I'm very empathetic, you know. So, but that's took a long time for me to understand. You know, when I would walk in a room, I could feel somebody's anxiety, anger, like, before they said a word. So, but now I'm like, wow, like that means I've got a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, and then, so what it's about for me now is working on myself, you know, because I have to be, you know, get my energy on point every day. I have to have that identity. No matter what is thrown at me, I'm going to find a way, you know. So, because I now think if I can help these kids, parents, teachers, etc., coaches, then, you know, that's success in my life. But at the same time, you cannot forget the reason why we're here is not about, it's people out there, but it's internal.
Of course.
It's our like challenges to become, you know, a new, you know, within deep inside us, I believe, you know.
So your purposeful mission is to help others, but ultimately you're helping yourself by doing that.
I think exactly. So I have to like push through, like, you know, the warrior, you know, the lover, the magician in me. You know, be the mother trucker king of your life. You cannot be a pawn.
That's good.
In someone else's life. Like, don't be a pawn. You know, dominate your life. Decide exactly who's crossing that line. Draw a line in the sand. Don't let anybody in there unless they are coming to support, you know, you. That's what I believe anyway.
I agree with that. I totally, that's the way I live my life. It's the most natural way a man should live.
Yeah.
So don't allow, you said that earlier on, but don't allow people's energies to change what your energy output is to the world. If you're sitting around, you said this, if you're sitting around with 4 idiots, you'll be the 5th idiot. If you're sitting around with 4 successful businessmen, you'll probably be the 5th.
Exactly.
So we only kind of know Glasgow, right? As much as an upbringing is involved. Do you think there's specifically like more negativity in a place like Glasgow compared to somewhere else? Because in the East End of Glasgow, they said that the life expectancy for an adult male was 54.
Yeah.
They had it's got the highest cocaine usage in Europe. It's got the highest alcohol, at some points the highest rate of alcoholism. We're kind of fighting an uphill battle with that then, because of the way our culture is.
Yeah.
And maybe guys like us in this situation in this city are helping people that haven't got this message. Just you're trying to say, you see people online and they're purely entertaining, or they're purely ego-driven, talking about how many cars they've got and shit like that. We don't really care about that personally, but I see your content entertaining and educational, which is like the gold standard. So you're coming out, you've got a character that people are drawn to, but what you're saying is actually helping people at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I
try and do that myself as well. The gold standard is educational and entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if you're purely entertainment, like I go on TikTok sometimes and I get people for Glasgow just arguing with a girlfriend, that's how I don't really go on it. Do you know what I mean?
No, and I would say TikTok in Glasgow is high, my bit is high request. What's going on in there? I wouldn't stay on it, and all I do is post, and then because I know, you know, kids are there, and you're trying to give them the light and the path. You know, like it's the point is like when like what's it, they say we are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom.
Wow.
You know, so you have to be very careful, like the guard your mind. You know, so what does that mean, guard? So every day, feed your mind. You know, if you're going to read some spiritual, you're going to, you know, put in that mind of yours, you know, something that's going to make you better. It's like, not, you know, watering the garden, isn't it? Mate, what is it, that beautiful quote, isn't it? Like, have such a beautiful garden, like the butterfly going to come in it. So you're not chasing the butterflies, you know. So, and I think that is. It's not like this isn't. See all this stuff I'm saying. This is what I read, but I resonate with it, you know. And I think what I've been trying my best to do all these years, and I'm well in my 40s now, like, is try to find out who I am, and keep improving myself, so I can inspire others.
And it's, if you got like a system in place that you are currently helping people, like a course or a program or
yeah, I mean I do like one-to-one coaching, like mostly online. That's kind of I've kind of want face-to-face clients that I meet up with. But I'm starting programs that will be very soon based on this. Yeah, so I guess I think the most challenging thing for me has been going on like online. It was very uncomfortable for me, and I think probably at the beginning you could see that, you know, because you're just. It's a completely new set of skills.
You know? We're not really in the age bracket.
Exactly.
Starting it. Personally, I don't know. I find it hard still to speak online, and I do it quite a lot. And I still find it hard to speak for longer, so I do like 30-second clips. See, when I'm forced to do like 10-20 minutes, I struggle with that. Don't personally think I'm a great speaker. My whole reason for doing it is I'm practicing my speech. I was in Marbella and I was with like a kind of content creator, influencer guy from Germany, and I was doing PTs with him. And I sat down with him, and because he had such a wealth of knowledge, I wanted to kind of speak to him about what he was doing and stuff like that. And I was telling him my plans. This is before he even put a camera on my face. And he said something like, "Why are you not doing it?" And I says, people might not resonate with it or whatever, just excuses. And he said, "Brian, it would be a liberty if you didn't share your world with your story with the world. It would be a liberty if you never done that, because they deserve your story." So I think everybody's got a story, everybody's got something they can offer. I think social media can be very, very harmful if you're purely consuming. But if you've got something that you want to give to the world, it's a great tool to create and offer. Like yourself, you're helping people, myself as well in a way, I'm helping people. And me getting over my fear of being able to do that, see you said at the start you were kind of struggling and stuff like that, I look at my old content and I'm like, but I make a point not to delete them. I keep them there, I keep them all there, and I look at all my mistakes, and that's growth as well, isn't it? I'm not scared to
show because mistakes is the only way you grow, isn't it? Of course. You know? And I do all that stuff online. I'll dance in public, because when I'm doing that, I'm thinking of all these wee kids I've taught, or the parents I know, or the adults, even a coach, who are so in themselves. They're so worried about what a fly thinks, never mind a human being, you know? Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, well, listen, I'm showing you, like, you know, I don't care what people think, you know, like, I literally don't. That is, but one thing I would say, as I never talk about it, is that these guys that come around on your forums and be negative, you know, like, the point is, like, you guys, like, go and rise up, like, yourself. Whatever that negative is, it's because you're not doing something that you know you can do in this world. Like, the point is, like, because you know, I think it's like depression. Like, as soon as I see a negative comment, I'll say, my man's depressed.
Of course.
You know, so, but the point is, what is depression? Depression is, I've been depressed, Yeah, but it's the difference between what a depressed person is and what feeling depressed is. Like, everybody feels depressed at some point. If they don't, they're not telling the truth. But it's the point is, I believe depression, low mood, right, is because you know you're not getting to your potential and you're not doing what you want, or at least going towards what you want, you know. But when you're making mistakes, it's outstanding because you're going towards what you want, at least, you know what I mean?
Well, that's that internal struggle that they're not doing what they should be doing, if you say.
I think that's like,
but then the other part of that is that's the ones that are even more depressed are going to spread the hate or spread the negativity, because they're trying to make you look like a fool because they're too scared to even try to make themselves look a fool.
Like, you pick up in these negative people, do you know what I mean? Like, but I don't want to dominate, but the point is, like, you know, it's not I don't ever think it's a plight on me. I know straight away it's their stuff, you know.
That's emotional intelligence.
It's their stuff, so I would say to you, Mama, go, you know, and go and you know, get yourself a plan. Yeah, like, if we can all just realise that bills, relationship breakdown, job loss, etc., we are more than any of
Sounds like a fool.
Like, you pick up in these, like, if we can all just realise that bills, relationship breakdown, job loss, etc., we are more than any of that stuff. We are more like that. We are so powerful inside, but the point is what is it they say, like, you know, Jesus, if you like, he said, like, you know, you're going to believe, you know, fear is the lie they tell us, you know. So the point is, like, we have to get rid of all that, and then say, listen, I'm going to find a way to be successful. But it's not easy. It's what you talk about, Brian. You can't just be in a fortified man. It cannot just come
you need to go through
overnight.
the test. You need to go through the test.
It's in its habits, isn't it? And it's doing, like, every day I'll wake up, I'll meditate, and then I'll go straight to a cold plunge. And it's not because I want to be tough, it's because I don't want to do it. I never want to do it.
Right.
But I start off by doing things I don't want to do to keep me strong, to say, right, well, it's like, as if they say, if you just base your life on feeling what you feel like doing, you know what I mean, or I feel like this, or maybe tomorrow, then you're never going to get what you want. You have to pass. So that's the way I do it. I know many people in the world do it, you know what I mean, but having an identity of doing things every day that put you in a strong state. When you feel like $1 billion after a cold plunge, don't you?
It's actually a secret, isn't it?
It flushes.
It flushes your dopamine.
It flushes all the stuff out your system. You know, your physiology is renewed. Like, the point is, but it's, you know, it's a journey that not everybody's going to go on, and I don't know the reason for that, you know, but I'm sure we'll find out one day, you know.
I mean, I think dependence on crutches, alcohol, soft drugs, hard drugs, whatever, comfort, being too invested emotionally. For instance, if your wife argues with you, then you argue back with her super emotionally. Like, all these things are going to weaken you. If you can regulate all this, if you can start to, like, fight the addictions or whatever, fight the abuse of alcohol, fight the drug use and stuff like that, then you discover how strong you are. But you're telling this just now, like, it's not just get up in the morning, jump in a cold water dip, and that'll build small incremental amounts of resilience every day. And it's not because you feel like doing it, you don't feel like doing it, it's just part of your routine. It's part of your routine, and that's going to make you the guy you are now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, completely. But the point is, like, we all need help, man. Like, see if you're a dude sitting and you're thinking, okay, Powermann, get the energy, Brian's FORTIFIED program, you know, is this thing that's going to make me better? Like, what was it to say? It's like, if I can't, I think it's Jim Rohn. You know Jim Rohn? He always says, like, it's a famous, probably first coach, really. Like, and he says, like, if I can't, I must. So it means if you don't think you have the time, you don't think you have the resources, but you know it's going to make you better. You know it's going to make you a better spirit, a better humour, a better human, stronger for the people around you. Do it, man. What you got to lose? Like, you're going to a lot to gain, nothing to lose. You know what I mean? So
the fear of loss is what puts people back. The fear of, like, if I try this and it doesn't come successful, I'm too scared of that. Mate, I've tried. I thought this last night. I've tried about 150 businesses, and 3 of them have been successful. Do you know what I mean? And every time I've came to one that wasn't successful, first few times was hard, but now I'm like, right, cool, that wasn't the avenue that was meant to happen. But then it builds, like, experience to eventually, when the ones that are successful work. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just the business. Fighting.
I was just saying, whatever.
On you go.
I was just saying, just whatever, you just sort of figure out why it didn't work, and then you go again.
Of course, then you analyse it, you adjust your life. Fighting as well, like, I've had 54, 55 fights, never won them all, but every time I either win or lose, I learn something. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like a big advocate of men fighting, not to purely fight, more for the lessons that you learn in it. It's the lessons are valuable, but it could be the same as, like, training. It's the same thing. Like, you're going through the test every day physically, and
I would say it's I've never thought. You know what I mean? But I would say my fear sometimes is getting in a fight, right? because you know what I mean, and touch wood, you just think a public situation that would never happen, but because you just don't know the ramifications. That's what, you know what I mean, that's what goes through my mind. You hit the guy, you know what I mean? Exactly. You're just so, that's, do you know what I mean? So
no, I totally understand it. I'm not really a fan of fighting outside. And I think when people think I say make men fight again, I'm not talking about fighting.
No, and I know you're not like that, but
it's more about fight the fight physically, and then fight the addiction, fight the comfort, fight the lack of discipline, fight the too much emotional, being too much emotional. I don't really word that correctly, but I've got a problem when, for instance, people I'm helping and they're just super emotional and they don't realise that that's a negative. Instead of being logical and correct about things, being patient, not worrying, not fretting, not getting flustered. When you're talking about helping men, and men need help, a lot of the time men just need to talk. Men just need to say what's on their mind, because a lot of men don't have that. Even their close friend groups, they might judge them, they might make fun of them, they're scared to say that. Their wives, they can't say it to them. In fact, a lot of men just need to get it out. And that's a bit of a problem, because things get bottled up.
It's true. It's sort of suppress it.
Suppress it, and it becomes negative. It comes into one of these turmoils, like too much alcohol, or erupting on somebody. Maybe all you had to do was 2 weeks ago get it out of your mouth and just speak about it. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I love what you talk about, is alcohol makes you soft, because, like, I've not drunk 10 years, and I'm not judging anybody, but I'm not, but the point is, when you drink alcohol, it's doing nothing but damage you, so damage your brain, etc. And then we have to be careful, because if you have children, they're watching you,
That's the main part. That's the main part. I don't judge anybody at all. Just for the record, when I'm saying this, I'm not judging anybody. But it is a truth, alcohol does make you soft, drug abuse does make you soft, drug use or drug abuse does make you soft. It takes you away from the original version of yourself.
Exactly, it takes away from our soul, as we talk about, but it makes us weak, so what we have to really do is disconnect from people around you, always, every day, to connect with yourself, to say, what is it? What is my mission? What's my purpose? Because happiness is progress, it's growth, like, that's not me saying, it's like thousands of years of philosophy.
Of course.
You know, when you grow, you're happier. And I think, like, it's not like, I think even kids, you know, like, see when you talk to kids, when I coach and I go to America and coach at times, and you talk to kids here there in the state, in Germany. So I lived in Germany and I coached kids in Munich. I worked with Bayern Munich, the coaches. So, but when you talk to these kids, they understand it.
More than Scottish kids?
More, no, the kids generally.
Right,
Like, probably you know, before you hit a teenager is probably the best. But even at that, if you can get them in small groups and talk to kids, they understand. Like, there's, like, I love the way you talk, but I'm not just saying this because I'm here. I love the way you talk, because it's black and white, this life. You know, you're either a force for good, or you're a force for the complete opposite of that.
100%.
You're either adding to the world, or you're taking from the world. Either life's a miracle, or it's not. Like, and that, see how simple that can be? If you can just keep on track. And I know, but I feel like people get weakened because they're just so driven for validation of their friendship groups, their parents, their, you know, there could be their siblings, you know. That's what weakens people, because they get controlled, you know what I mean? And if you're not spending time either, you know, meditating, training on your own, doing something on your own every day, you're not going to find out what your vision is, really. You're not going to, do you know what I mean? It's
going to be stuck, and then you become a part of another person's vision, which is no what you're deemed to come here for. I don't believe.
No, because you're going to just run this life, and then at the end of the life, do you know what they say? Like, statistics show, they did all these interviews and these hospices, people are going to go past, and they all said, like, basically 90% of them said if they'd lived their life again, they wouldn't have tried to please others, not just others, their family.
Wow.
They said their family, their parents, their siblings. You know, it's like the wolves. It's like you got to kick out your pack, man. You know, and I know we're not animals, but we're all from the same, aren't we? But so it's like the wolf gets out, doesn't it? The young wolf gets out, doesn't it? The male wolf, gets out the pack. And do you know what the father tries to do? Kill it.
Why?
Because he doesn't want him to leave, you know.
Right.
And he doesn't. It's like it's a plight on them that the guy is. His wolf is going to leave, but it's growth. You know, they got to get out their pack. Do you know what I mean? So they can go create their own life. You know.
Well, that's quite a really, really deep thing with me, because my dad is like an alpha male kind of character growing up, and my whole thing was I had to escape the support of him when I was really young.
Too right.
When I was, but
especially if he was alpha or is.
But he's a great guy. He's fantastic, best dad ever. But because I didn't want to get swallowed in his shadow at a young age, like 19 is when I decided. I left home at 19, and then since then I've travelled the world. Like, I have left my pack, and I've left not only my dad and my family, like my society, my culture, Glasgow, and learned a lot. But in the more recent years, I think in Scottish culture, or British culture, sorry, we leave home really young, right? Yeah. And you say that's a good thing. But then I see other cultures in the UK that they stay together longer. Yeah. Like Asian communities, for instance. Yeah. So say they've got one family and brothers and sisters, and they all kind of grow up together. And it's like more of a communal family environment, which I think when you leave really young, you kind of cut that out a wee bit as well. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So is the benefit of leaving the pack young and learning, or staying with the pack and growing together?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It just depends, you know what I mean?
Depends on the situation and the pack you've got.
It depends on the wisdom of the parents.
Yeah.
Because I think if they understand, okay, I'm going to allow my son to grow. You know, it's like you have to let your kids go through pain. because otherwise they're not going to grow.
You think you're being a good parent by not letting them go through the pain because you're being a good secure parent, but you're actually
you're making them weak, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like I'm not sure if it's still going on. When was it? Like, maybe it started where all this focus was on telling your kids, "Oh, you're amazing. You know, you're just so brilliant." And by the way, just to say, like, I'm not judging either. Like, but when you big your children up like that, and then without any, you know, they're not done anything. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just sitting there. So, and you just say you're amazing, and the point is they'll go out into the world, and people won't treat them like that. You know what I mean? People will say, "Oh, like, you didn't do this right," or they'll criticise them, and then they'll go down because they don't understand. Then it's Carol Dweck is still the best in the world at this. She's a psychologist in Stanford, you know, and so she talks about this effort, because it's like an open mindset. So she talks about, like, if you can place effort in your child, that was it, you know, then if you keep saying that was amazing effort, with massive effort comes massive rewards, and that sort of philosophy, yeah, it's like, I think it's like an open mindset, she calls it. But then they'll break through eventually, when it gets to becoming an adult and problems come, they'll keep pushing.
Yeah.
They want, their brain will say, okay, if I just keep putting effort into this, I will break through, you know.
Right, so that probably explains why I opened a gym.
Yeah.
A martial arts gym for kids. My son's 4. My dad and my granddad were professional fighters. I was a professional fighter. It was just going to lead on to he fights, right? So when he was 3, I took him to a wrestling gym, and it was hard. He was too young. The guy let him come because he let him come. He was like, "You're too young," and he was getting beat up and crying because he was getting beat up not hurt, but wrestled off older kids. My wife and my dad said to me, "He's too young. Take him on another date. It's no good for him."
Yeah.
And do you know what, mate? I kind of went against him and I says, "No, this is good for him," and I just kept him going.
Yeah.
So much so that the coach, who's going to be a coach in this Fortified gym, he used to hold my son's hand and take him around the mat.
Wow.
So he was like the best coach ever, right, for kids. And eventually my son just started to enjoy it and enjoy it. So that's the exact same thing. I didn't punish him by making him go. I was forcing him at a young age to learn this effort principle that you're talking about. The more that he trains hard and continues and starts to get better, now he's getting better and he's beating other kids now, do you know what I mean? If I just cut that off and being that supportive parent, he would never have learned the lessons.
Yeah.
And he's learned that at 3-4 years old, you know? Which is why I love martial arts for kids. I think it's like so vital. I don't care about the fighting, it's the lessons.
But yeah, I think it's, you know, I don't know much about it, but I would say if you're going to bring your child up in Glasgow, put them into martial arts.
Yeah, boxing's great.
Or, you know, and then they can get, it's just that team building thing, it's where you would get that, because one of the greatest skills, isn't it, is being able to work in a team, you know.
My mate said that because I hate football.
But I just think football in Glasgow, like,
it kills it, doesn't it? It kills it, that whole thing kills it, mate.
I mean, I'm not even sure if Messi would have made it as a footballer in Glasgow, you know, like, he would have told, he would have just been something like, so negative to him, he kind of gave up.
It's hard to support. I've never been into football, but my mate, who's right into Celtic, he said to me, "You need your boy to join a football team, because team sports are what it's all about." But what you just said there, and he boxed me as well, this guy. In martial arts, it is a single sport and you're rewarded for what you do, but behind the scenes, on the mats and beside the ring, in the gym, you're surrounded by a team. It's even more of a team sport than football, do you get what I'm saying? Because you're all helping each other every day. So I like the benefit of that. So you've got the individual test yourself, you're not having to rely on somebody else, nobody can blame you, it's all on you, and then you've also got the team in the back here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well that works, but yeah, I do think, plus it gives them focus, and I think it's that controlled aggression,
Of course.
because you know, you're going to be, you call it aggression or assertiveness, you know, decisiveness, like, if you know, a leader is someone that's decisive. You know, if you're going to say, "Oh, I'm not sure," or maybe this is going to work, you know, that's, you know, it's like whatever's going to give you energy. You know, so the point is, if your child is going into these classes and they're on fire and they're growing and they're working, see, the emotions, isn't it? Emotional intelligence, you said, like, is being able to dominate. Oscar Wilde, you know, says, like, being able to be in dominion of your emotions.
Wow.
You know, so, and if I'm here, I'm not putting my child into football. And I'm sure there's good coaches, but it's just not. I played football for years, not understanding the psychology, the positivity, right, is the only way, yes, because it gets the energy up, especially for kids, but also when times get tough, you know, you stay focused on what you want. You know you're more, you have an identity, you're more than whatever you're going to be hit by, you're going to find a way, and you have to surround yourself with people who think like that, who support that. And football here, it's just not treated seriously. You know, the coaches give up their time for free many times, so they're not trained properly, they're not trained in that mindset. You know, you go to Germany, I've seen it, it's different, you know. It's different, they're more serious about this, and they're more, they understand the discipline of the way you speak to children. You know, that might be controversial what I just said, but it's true.
No, I totally agree. The Germans are super efficient with everything, so I can imagine they've got a platform or a system to do that with young kids a lot better than we do. The reason I don't like football in Scotland though is it's going to be the division, it's nothing to do with football, it's the religion and stuff like that, and I was never into it. I don't want my son part of it, I don't want my kids part of it. It takes away from the sport, it takes away from what it is.
And I think, like, you know, when you're so into something like that, like Celtic and Rangers, like they aren't going to pay your rent, are they?
Not if you're a fan. No.
If you're a fan, you know.
No, not at all.
So, like, I mean, if you can be sort of passionate, you know, but you know it's just, you know, I mean,
it's get like a leisure. It's a leisure.
Fair enough, but when it becomes about your vision,
and
especially like hating another human being for the team to support it, that doesn't make any sense, does it? That's like caveman stuff, isn't it? You stay across the road and I'm going to hate you.
Oh, it is.
Do you know what I mean? So,
but like, people do enjoy it. My friends.
They enjoy it in a sort of playful, well,
no, they're the other end, mate. They're aggressive, right?
Oh, are they?
But I don't want to deny them this, because I don't understand it. I don't want to deny them this love that they've got for something. It's something I don't understand, so I'm never going to judge it. I don't judge anything, but I want them to enjoy it as much as they can. But I don't want to get involved in it myself. Not that many more intelligent, not that many more mature. I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't understand the history, obviously. I don't understand how it can relate to sport.
Yeah, and do you know, I remember, like, when these fierce rivalries, it's highly, it can obviously be highly destructive.
Yeah.
Like, see if you look at the statistics of domestic abuse in an old firm game. I mean, I don't know who doesn't talk about this, but it's massive. But I remember I was a wee boy and I was into it, and I remember, I think it was, what age was I? When Henrik Larsson was playing here in Frank Bronckhorst, Rangers and Celtic players, and I was in town with my brother or something after the game, and they had this game, right? Those two, one plays for Celtic, one plays for Rangers, were out together, having a beer. And I'm just like, there you go. And I think I just sort of dawned in me then. I was like, wow, like, this is aye.
You spoke to me the other day about spirituality. I want to get into that because you've kind of touched on it, and not said it as much, and you were speaking about it earlier on. And the reason I'm saying this is because you keep saying energy.
Yeah.
You see energy the exact same way I see it. I don't see it enough online, but I really, really agree with you and I relate to that. Give me an insight to what you believe spiritually, if you don't mind.
So when I was a little boy, I was about 12. So I remember I had this very vivid dream, right? And it was my sister, who's the oldest sister, right? She was like 28 at the time, right? Or 27, 28. She was a mental health nurse, amazing person. Anyway, I had this vision when I woke up, like I was convinced she'd passed, right? I was like, so I ran into a room. There's 8 of us in a house, you know, you can imagine that, like quite a small, we graduated into something bigger, but anyway, she was alive and I was like, it's just a dream. But anyway, a year ago she did actually pass, and she passed in a hill walking accident, and you know, it was just, she was doing a charity thing with doctors. It was just crazy, but the point is, it stuck in my mind. I was like, that is weird, because I had a dream. It wasn't like exactly what happened, and ever since sort of then, I've started to think like these dreams are important. What is it happens when you dream? You know, it started going through my head. And anyway, as time progressed, like I you know, I was very close to my sister, but the point is, it's, you know, for me, I made a decision. I think all my family really struggled to go over it, but what I realised was I had a feeling that I was going to see her again one day, right? And that, whether it's just a belief, whatever it is, right? So then I started to sort of go away from the Catholic Church. I was brought up Catholic, and then I started to sort of meditate more as the years went on. And then I started to understand how you, like, it's like you say, where is the king? It's like the yogis say, right? Where is the kingdom of God? Yeah, or the kingdom of God is within. So what I started to understand, how do you understand the kingdom of God? You know, where do you start? That if you went deep inside yourself through calming yourself, then you could connect with something greater, an infinite intelligence. So I've been working on that for a long time, and I think that is where you can get messages, or that's where my energy comes from as well, you know, because, and I think since then my dad has died, mum has died, so death has been a coach for me. But I've always went to the spiritual. You know, I understand there's a systematic, you know, steps you have to go through with death, like, you know, like the shock, and then eventually and then it, you know, acceptance. But always to get yourself out of pain, you know, this creation. So I think, like,
to get yourself out of a pain.
To get yourself out of pain, like, see if you went through a lot of stuff, like, and the way I do it is I create, I accept, and then I start to create. So, being a deputy head in a school, you know, wanting to be a head teacher, I realised that I wanted to be more, like, no offence to teachers, but it's a massive world, you know. So, but being spiritual, it's like we're spiritual beings. This body here is just a vehicle. Like, some have Lambos, some have Fiestas, and it's just a vehicle, isn't it? So we are spiritual. Like, you can't. So the point is, the more, you know, we understand that, I think more powerful you're going to be. You know, like, I'm not saying, you know, go to a cave and meditate all the time, you know. I'm just saying, connect with yourself.
But going to a cave and meditating is a good thing.
Oh, definitely.
So I meditate as well.
Aye.
So you're tying your meditation to spirituality, basically,
yeah.
And that's going to give you what answers when you do meditate.
Yeah.
See, when you meditate, is it transcendental meditation or?
I do like a lot different ones, but like, so I do a lot of Joe Dispenza ones. You know Joe Dispenza?
I've heard of him.
So he does the pineal gland,
right?
And he starts from here, and you do the breath, there's like 7 different energy systems, so it's about replacing any negative anxiety with peace, joy, gratitude. So I do a lot of that. I do gratitude. So if you're like, what is the closest frequency to your creator, right? We say God's is gratitude. You know, they say, they just like, I'm just giving quotes, but the point is that when you're grateful also, because I think like, we all have egos, yeah, but to get rid of the ego is gratitude, you know.
I read a book, I say this quite a lot, I read a book in prison about Islam, and somebody was explaining Islam was a beautiful book, Secrets of Divine Love, and she said EGO stands for edging God out.
That's it, yeah.
So if you're focused on ego, it's just all about you. So I want to say that to you. I meditate. I meditated for years. Somebody taught me transcendental meditation. I was like 19, go over anxiety or something. I thought it was depressed, but it was anxiety, right?
No, I know what it is.
And it's really good. So when I meditate, for some reason I can get into this trance really quickly, and then I see this white light. And when I see the white space, it's like a very white room or whatever, I know that I'm kind of connected into the meditative state.
Same actually.
You see this white light? I've said it to a few people, and they've said yeah, and some said no.
Yeah.
But as I became older, I kind of went through like, was a Catholic, then spiritually, and lots of different things, and I stumbled upon Islam. For me, Islam, all the teachings are the same, one way or another, right? It's just different language, but it gave me more of a foundation that was already tried and tested. So with meditation, it's amazing. Meditation with gratitude, for me, is like prayer.
Yeah.
So when I pray, I'm also meditating, but I'm so focused on gratitude. For me, prayer is gratitude, basically, right? And that's the greatest connect with God. It's interesting you said that there.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
I think that you set yourself free, but being powerful. I read a lot about yogis. The autobiography of a yogi.
I've read that.
Have you read it? I love that book.
That's a great book.
I love it. And the point is, like, they talk about the king. They talk about this. They call it Divine Mother. They call it, and the book's like connecting with the Divine Mother. But in the Himalayas, these guys, their life is purely about growth. What is growth to them? Like, it's not the way we see it. Like BMWs, it's finding gurus, it's finding yogis, it's not being triggered by anything.
Wow.
So, and that, and these guys, like, I'll say to people, like, these guys can make, this is what he says in the book, but these guys can make, like, a tangerine appear in their hand. Like, and that there's also these yogis, they say they can disappear and appear instantaneously in different places. And that, for me, is like I don't want to think any way other in this world apart from it's a miracle. Everything is a miracle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go in to a school and pretend that life's a battle. I know, like you say fight, right? I understand what you mean by fight, is that you stand up, you step forward, like as I say.
You keep saying dominate, it's the same thing. But
you step up, you be a force for good. Like, it's a yin and yang. There's always going to be evil.
Yeah.
I've read it so many times. Like, there's always going to be the good and evil. So the point is, what you're going to be, you're going to step up, you're going to raise your standard, because I don't want to accept that life isn't amazing. I can't, and I think my problem at times is I know it's a cliche, but I can get myself involved with people who don't think life's amazing.
Right.
And the point is, you can lead them, but some people don't want to listen,
Right.
If they have what they want, or they are, they already have these beliefs, like they've been conditioned.
Right.
You know, so we're all conditioned. You know, like it's like now dogs. You give dogs like a treat or pain. Pavlov, like that Pavlov thing where they say like if you ring the bell, the dog comes out and you feed it. The dog will do anything you want. But like you know, Freud. You know, Sigmund Freud. He talked about people being conditioned. Yeah, like people don't change. You know, after a certain age, unless there is mental breakdowns or they have a massive sort of happening in their life. It could be a breakup, it could be, you know,
prison or something.
Exactly, it could be prison. And then, but the point is, that is like, it's Alexander the Great says, he says like, better to have a breakdown or be broken rather than slowly break and then die.
That's a quote.
Isn't it? And this Alexander the Great, like, he had mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like Walt Disney had 4 mental breakdowns. Julius Caesar, you know, had a mental breakdown. And then his pal, the point is, like, embracing that, like, and I think still, like, I don't think people talk about mental health, yeah, but I think it's a lot of just anxiety, you know.
Yeah.
And saying I am anxious is giving yourself an identity, you know, and it's a comfort zone for people, you know, for many people. And I'm not having a go at people who are anxious. It's sincere, you know what I mean? But,
I mean, you can say at a given point, I'm feeling anxious, which is normal. Or you can say, I'm suffering from anxiety, which is putting a more level on it.
Yeah.
I've suffered from, I'm not suffering from anxiety. I've at times been anxious.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad, when I was younger, he said to me, I think you're depressed. Because my dad's just this mad old school guy. He's like, you're fucking depressed. And I'm like, aye. So I learned meditation and that, because I was going through a hard time, 19 or something. And I went to this like, hypnotherapist doctor.
Aye.
And I says to him, my dad says I'm depressed, I must be depressed. And the guy went, Brian, you're just anxious. You're 19 years old, etc, etc, etc. So the way I'm trying to say that is, people maybe think they're super depressed and they maybe need tablets and they maybe need all they might just be going through fucking 5-10 days of a heartache, you know? It might not be depression, it might just be, right, you need to get through this, mate. It's just life, do you know what I'm saying? It's just
I think it's, like you talk about, is distraction. Like, it's massive distraction. Like,
saying you're suffering from anxiety is a distraction.
And plus, like, you know, many people in relationships, and it's a massive, you know, huge distraction because they don't want to. Like, the hardest thing is to reach within, you know, and say, okay, I want to be successful in this world. I'm going to be in, you know, die, whatever it is. But you have to get deep in there. It's a process. Like, the point is, I'm not saying every relationship can be a distraction, but I get many boys messaging me since I started my online stuff 6 months ago. They're messaging me saying they can't go over a breakup, you know, and you wonder. I mean, I don't know. When I was that age, I think most of these guys are late teens, early 20s. I can't remember being like that. Do you know what I mean?
Through it myself, because you put so much energy into this one person, and then so I was a young teenager when that happened to me for the first time. It was hard, right?
Aye.
But since then I've had multiple partners, and then I've ended up with a great partner, kids with, right? But when I speak to some guys at like 28, 29, 30 that's going through that, and they're like, oh, down and out and all that, and I go at them, what's happened? Oh, I fell with my girlfriend, and I say to them, this is the first time this has happened. Aye, my first real girlfriend, first love and all that. I'm like, right, you're going to learn, mate, you know.
That's quite a compassionate way to look at it. I guess I'm looking at it a bit deeper and saying, you know, why are these boys not just bouncing back 24 hours later, you know? But
aye. So you think they put too much importance in the relationship?
No, I think they lack you know, I just don't think, I think they lost their vision for themselves, and
of course,
you know,
right,
and they
I
become
understand,
like centred, as you say, on their partner. Because women, you know, women are smart and smarter than a lot of guys, you know what I mean? They can be, what I mean, in certain ways, I mean, be careful, because like one of my proudest things in this world is I had a really close relationship with my mum. So, and my sisters, you know, I go on, you know, I love them to bits, but the point is, women can plan better. Do you see what I mean?
women are emotionally maturer.
Yeah.
I would say they're emotionally, they're more in connection with their emotions, whereas men aren't. So when you start to play against a woman, if it becomes like not love anymore, it's like an argument. They kind of win the battle a lot of times, unless you as a man can regulate your emotions and understand it logically.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that unless you go through these periods of fabric.
It's true, but do you know what, Brian? Like, you know, see if you've got habits the way you have, and I know you've went through a lot of stuff, like, clearly, you know. But see if you have those habits where you're up in the morning and you're training, you know, focusing on yourself, hour of power, whatever you want to call it, and that will anchor you and to be getting stronger every day.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key for these young boys, because, like, I don't know really, I mean, I coach a couple of women, but these young boys right now, they're on all sorts of drugs, you know, like and I'm talking kids of any class, you know, the hash, the weed, the flavoured stuff is cocaine. You know what you said earlier, you know. The point is, like, boys, you're gonna have to find a way to get out of that, and because unless you're really strong, stay single, you know. Do you know, that's what I would say, you know. And I think at that age, I'm worried for a lot of boys that age right now, because I just don't see the power, you know what I mean?
I don't know if many people agree with this, but when you're a young boy, teenager to mid-20s or whatever, you should try and experience as much of life's flavours in regards to women as possible. And I don't mean be a bad guy, but like, go on dates and meet other girls and
be upfront with them.
Be transparent. 100% be transparent.
Be honest. Like I think, like, Brian, like, see if you don't have honesty, you don't have anything in this world. Like, if you can't look someone in the eyes and be honest with them, and that's white lie stuff, and you know, like, don't. That's what I would say to boys. If you can start off, like, not compromising your honesty. Like, you need a mission. Clearly, you have a mission statement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like things like I don't compromise with things, like, with honesty. It's not always been like that. Right. Yeah, but now I understand it's me. If I'm not sincere, it's going to break for me. And the other thing is, like, I have certain things that will be different from you. Like, I don't compromise with food, etc. You know, there's certain I don't compromise with training. I don't compromise with my routine. The point.
So you're non-negotiable in your routine, and your habits and your standards.
Exactly.
That's basic, isn't it? We understand this.
It's less likely you're going to get into these drugs, and it's less likely you're going to find a woman that's not right for you. Do you know what I mean? That's true,
because you need to be you. You need to be the real version of you before you can deal with a woman, a business partner, a friend, a group. How do you find the real you? I think it's go through the hard work, go through these tests, go through these routines. Because I've got a cracking routine. It's hard. Every morning I've got a hard routine, right? And I went through a period of 6 years where I was up to all sorts of trouble, and life was just like fruitful, but it wasn't purposeful, right? I ended up in a very low spot, and all I could do in that low spot was build a routine. Yeah, that's all I could do, right? And since I've came out of that low spot, I still keep up the same routine. I'm non-negotiable on it. I'm non-negotiable on it, because I know for a fact it's going to send me back to that unpurposeful undisciplined man that got in that situation. Now, when I coach a man or I speak to a man or even give somebody advice, the first thing I say to them is, what's your routine? Well, I got up at this time and walks this time, I eat this food and all that. That's not a routine, mate. You're just aimlessly floating through life, trying to hit a pot of gold one day. You need a routine, and you stick to the routine, and it's not going to be for 5 minutes, it's going to be for the next 50 years, 60 years of your life, you know?
Aye, it's an interesting bit, and I think, see, we've all got these challenges to work on in this world, right? So we have to find out where we're messing up, right? Whereabouts are we going wrong? And if you want to be successful, you can keep doing what you're doing, like numb yourself. Like it's either numb yourself, isn't it? Like it's black and white. You numb yourself with alcohol, smoking, vapes, etc. Right? You keep going, superficial relationships, you know, just dipping into things. Or you say, right, I'm going to build myself with self-respect, right? You know, like I'm going to have an identity. No matter what hits me, I'm going to find a way over it, through it, whatever it is. But you know what my whole point is, like you're not going to change your identity, without energy. You know, like if I'm in a low state of energy, I'm not going to rise up at 6 a.m, go smash the gym, jump in a cold plunge. That's just not going to happen. But if I'm getting myself in the peak state, and I'm saying, today, you know, I'm going to be outstanding in my attitude. You can control your attitude. Yeah. Like as you said, you were in prison and you understand a routine. There's a famous Jerry Coffey. He was one of 3 guys who were pulled into concentration camps in North Korea. And he was, the 3 of them, right, they were special forces. 1 committed suicide in the prison, they were, the 2 left, right, Jerry Coffey and the other guy. The other guy went back to America, in a mental institution. Jerry Coffey started doing push-ups, sit-ups every day in his tiny cell, and he went back in his life, right, what mistakes did I make, right, what, and he came out after 7 years, built like a tank, by the way, and he became a billionaire.
Wow.
You know, wow. So the point is, like, what was the difference there? Do you see what I mean?
Aye.
But the point is, I'm not...
Acceptance of the
I'm
situation.
not going to... Like, I've failed, mate. I've failed so much. Like, I tried to bring Bayern Munich right here, you know, like, I brought the coaches over, you know, invested and all that sort of stuff, and it didn't work out, you know what I mean? The point is, I went for it, like, I failed in relationships, but, you know, the point is, like, as long as you can say, right, I know why this went wrong, and I created this stuff, so that means I can dominate that situation, but what have I got to do? Like, to do it, I have to be that identity every day, like the Powermann identity. Like, I have to rise up when I don't want to. I have to, you know, like, that's, I think that's the one thing about, see, a cold plunge, guys, and I'd say this, and people say, oh, I don't want to do it, like, I do all that sort of stuff, like, but the point is, like, cold plunge, it numbs the worries.
Aye,
do you know what I mean?
Focus, 100% focus.
So it just, and you say, well, what could have been a problem, it is no longer a problem because I'm going to deal with it, you know?
On that note, I'm going to invite you to my mate. I kind of set it up this Steadfast Sunday, and I'll get everybody out on a Sunday morning, do one cold plunge. My mate's continued it in Greenock.
Brilliant.
You need to come, we get like 20, 30 guys, 10 minutes.
I saw it online.
10 minutes.
I'm up for it.
You should come.
I want to. I'll do it.
You'll enjoy that. Well, so, if you... Right, so you're a teacher. I imagine that you're not allowed to teach all these things because you're stuck in a standard of how to teach, how to operate, and maybe that's been your motivation to do these things. How are you going to do that? By not being a teacher anymore in that position?
Yeah, it's well, I mean, I've actually created a programme based on what I'm talking about, like energy, identity, branding, so having a vision, you know, and how, and I do a lot of coaching. You know, I've got 4 or 5 teenagers I coach who have addiction, so I'll do one-to-one stuff. But, so, my mission really is to inspire and as much as I can with these children, but maybe it's not going to be as a teacher, you know, so because I properly left teaching. But
you've left that label of yourself,
I mean, will I go back in, but it would be amazing to go back into schools and do programmes for kids, like and you know, obviously set them up with the schools. I do know quite a few head teachers, so I think like where my passion is still that age group. You know, don't forget, if you hit kids like if you kind of get to the children before they become a teenager, the brain is open.
What age are you talking?
Well, from like the Spartans would train them from 3 years old.
My son goes wrestling for 3, that's good.
Aye, he would train, and they would get them to pick up stones and squat and then colour coordinate. So they would say, right, this is a yellow stone, go carry it over there, because they understand the brain works from colour, you know. That's it. And then, but the point is, from, you know, if it's neuroplasticity, you know, which I studied neuroplasticity, so it's basically, if you tell, you know, a great example, right, if you do incantations, I mean, maybe not the way I do them, like, you don't have to shout it, but with kids, they will become it, like, much quicker,
right, okay.
like lightning, you know. So if you do these repetition emotionally, consistently, with that intensity as well, and kids don't have the ego. If they do have ego, it's because they you know what I mean, at the younger that age, 5, 6, 7, they'll try anything, they don't, but the point is, like, it's like that Think and Grow Rich book, you know, Napoleon Hill. He talks about whatever you put in the subconscious mind of a child just before they go to sleep, they will become. So famously, he healed his son from a hearing defect. His son didn't have the structure to hear properly in his ear, and he ended up hearing.
Wow. And
doctors were obviously like, this is a miracle. So my real passion is, because I love coaching kids. I go to America and coach kids. I've did loads of coaching programs here with kids over the years. My real passion is there, but the understanding is this, that you have to get to the adults. So you have to coaches and say, like, the words, like the words you say to the children, you know, you're going to give them the focus, you have to give them a compelling future, show them how to get into a strong state, a focused state, and at that age it'll just cement. It's like what they say in the Bible, whatever you train a child will not depart from them.
Wow.
So if you get them make the bed 5 days in a row, at 5 years old they're going to do it, they're going to keep doing it. But it's when you don't get that discipline when you're a kid, when the routine's all over the place, that's a lot of time that the adults will, do you know what I mean, will turn out like that.
That's maybe came from homes that adults haven't had that, and then their parents haven't had that. Yeah. So that's a long line. So it needs to be an integration of.
It's what I was talking about. It's conditioning. Like, you have to get out your conditioning. So it's, some people get out the country as you did. Some people move to another city. But I think, like, we cannot be a mum and dad. We have, because we are not them. We are a separate. They're a vessel ultimately. Yeah. You know, we have the genetics. So it's about becoming you, being fully responsible, and isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Why you just said that about me leaving the country? I say this to a lot of people now. I wasn't at peace for years. I don't really click with Glasgow, and I don't really. Culturally, I don't click with a lot of people and stuff like that. I've got my friends obviously, but just a lot of things I don't click with here. And I thought it was the environment that was making me feel this unsettledness. So I kept fucking off and trying all these kind of things. I wasn't at peace. And I didn't find peace until I was in trouble when I was in this place. Not to think about it, but you're in a cell every night, 24 hours a day, just thinking about the 36 years of problems you had or mistakes you made. So you come to a realisation of what's right and what's wrong, because that's what you've got to do. And I wasn't at peace. See, now that I'm back in Glasgow, I'm fucking loving it. I really enjoy it. It's nothing to do with the culture, it's nothing to do with the people, I just wasn't right. I had an internal struggle that I didn't face or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's probably the same for a lot of people out there. They probably, right, I'm lucky that I read a lot. I'm not a scholar or like that, but I'm quite decently read. And I can always revert back to this information. So you're saying all these guys like Joe Dispenza and all, they give you some valuable information. I think, like, if my kids are on an iPad, I need to encourage them to read, because we're kind of blocking out a lot of the education that is necessary for kids, and it's not going to come in TikTok and YouTube shows and stuff like that. Some stuff, but not all of it. So I think a good way to encourage the youth at that age is to go and start utilising your brain. Writing as well is so great. You can get your own thoughts out. You know,
neuromuscular as well. So it drives the journaling, gratitude. It drives it deeper into the brain when you write it, rather than just putting it on your phone.
Because you're making it a physical from the imaginative state.
I mean, if you teach children gratitude, they're going to be on fire, you know.
Of course.
There's a yellow brick road for kids, you know. There's a way, you know what I mean? And all these things, ADHD, autism, etc., there's always a way through it, you know. So the point, especially with children, you know what I mean? But the phones,
phones are in prison.
The parents got to go off the phone, you know, and they got to be present with a child, because it's like that research I read that children were interviewed, toddlers or some sort of age group, and they were saying they thought some parents loved their phone more than them. Can you believe that, can't you?
And so, I work on my phone.
But the point is, it's okay, you just get rid of the phone, and then you teach them like, use social media to the positive, you know, use it as a business, use it to learn, you know, so much, isn't there? It's an amazing tool. So it's about you teaching them, and in schools we're still not doing that. You're still not teaching, well, from what I see, but I know it'll be happening in some schools, but I don't think we're teaching the kids how to use it to the positive, you know what I mean?
It's no part of the curriculum.
I think they just need the parents, carers, they need to come together with head teachers and need to say, right, what's it we're going to do here? Are we going to, you know, stop the phones coming into school? Can you make sure you police the phone at night? That's your responsibility as a parent. They cannot be in the phone after a certain time of night. Like, it's just like, even when I was a kid, like, anyway, it's looking back, but the point is, like, it's not just a little minor problem. Like, see these YouTube and all that things they're getting access to, like, the brain thinks if you're seeing violence on YouTube, or who knows what's going on YouTube, you know what I mean, then the kids are actually living, the brain is living that, you know. So the point, they're feeling it, you know, they're seeing it, you know, they're embodying it. So that's not good for the brain. It's not, if it's not good for the brain, it's not good for the heart. It's not, do you know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing that people are ignoring right now, and I mean, I wouldn't like to say, but do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, I think you need to get hold of that situation before it's out of control for many parents, you know.
Well, at least if you're going to try and help this reformation of the education system somehow, I think you've got power in it to do it with social media.
Well, that's that's a big focus. I think that's going to be the focus. Actually, so even like young offenders, you know, something I know there's I think it's called Moving On Up programme. It's about helping young offenders get back on track and supporting them, but we'll see.
Powermann.
Yeah.
We've nearly done 2 hours.
Oh, have we?
I've had a great talk.
Aye, well.
Let everybody know and a message what it is you're try to give the world.
Okay, guys, what I want to do is inspire through my energy, my passion, yes, my knowledge, my humour, my brevity, is help you rise up and dominate and love your